When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape.
To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts.
Like brakes and batteries.
I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service.
And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time.
Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Red Menace TV here on Proview Networks. Leroy Lucero along with Michael Carlisle of 610D Sports Animal fame. I still don't have the FM number again. What is it? 95.9?
Yeah. Even I
Is
you
it?
got it. You've got it.
I did?
Yes.
That was a heck of a guess. I mean, that's like closing my eyes and swinging the bat and actually making contact.
Yeah.
Or me playing golf and it actually going straight.
Right.
Just a luck shot. And then former Lobo football beat writer from the Albuquerque Journal, former, is it UNM Football SID? Is that the official title?
Media Relations Director, Assistant Communications Director. We had so many titles back there, but
okay.
Whatever you want.
For the University of New Mexico, just for the sake of argument, SID.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, did you have an AD title too? Because everybody else.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Did you have a vice presidency?
No. Assistant Communications Director is as high as I got.
Is Nunez a vice president, or is he an SID, or is he AD?
I think he's just AD. I think
AD?
they did away with the vice president.
They got rid of all the vice presidencies?
Yeah. Okay. But you can still say my name. You said the title.
Oh, I'm sorry. Greg Archuleta.
Thank you.
And that's, let's see, it's at GARCH, is that right? Is that the Twitter?
GARCSR for senior.
There you go. Okay. Greg Archuleta, good friend of mine. I've known Greg for, gosh, it's been close to over 20 years now, I think, since we were covering UNM football when Rocky Long was there.
Right.
And in those times, you were with the Journal, and it was just basically you and I there
right.
at
Practice, yeah.
And now I think just Rick Wright shows up now.
Yeah.
Well, when it's open.
Right. For the 20 minutes that he can go and then have to come back.
I mean, I got bored because it's like you can only see guys warm up for so long and then leave.
Right.
That it's just like, why am I going to spend the time to drive all the way over there, watch these guys do the same thing every day, and then just leave? It seems like a waste of time for me. So anyway, the reason I had to, so let me just give the history real quick. So you worked for the Journal, you left the Journal.
2011.
And then you started to work for UNM. Mike Loxley was the coach then, right?
I was there for 2 weeks of his, his last 2 weeks.
Okay, but you were given credit? Is that the word for like leaving and taking Loxley down? Were you one of the ones that got?
Well, I was labeled a coach killer.
Okay.
There was Loxley, Yvonne Sanchez. I was her SID, and it took a year for that one to happen.
Okay.
but I was labeled, and then I was also the women's soccer SID, Kit Vela, for her last year, and then she was fired. So I was a coach killer there when I was at UNM.
I guess you are. No wonder they.
Exactly.
So I have to ask you, because you were there for Davey.
Right.
You were there for Loxley. Both, right? Well, okay. Loxley left under his entire reign ended up being kind of a disaster.
Right.
Both off the field, but more importantly on the field, it was a disaster.
Right.
Davies, I mean, he's had decent years as a football coach, but now we have all these things. And by the way, he is serving that 30-day suspension like Mike Carlisle predicted, because you're a genius.
Even though the Board of Regents have yet to officially vote on whether or not to hear the appeal.
Oh, I thought they
were gonna. They voted, but it did it behind closed doors, which violated public meeting laws. So they were going to do it Monday, but they couldn't get enough regents there, so they postponed the vote.
So the 30 days might be done before they actually. We decided we'll hear we'll hear it now. Oh,
and that's typical UNM, and I think we talked about that on your radio show. Like they just have not learned anything from the Loxley years about being more transparent. It's just protecting themselves at the expense of their reputation. Nobody trusts them. They don't understand why. This is exactly why, because they do these things behind closed doors instead of, they're a public institution. I don't know what it's going to take for them to come out and say, look, this is what's going on, whatever. I mean, I know lawyers get involved, but their reputation has been in tatters for years, and it's never going to get fixed. And it looks like even under, and I don't know the new AD, but I have not seen any signs that this thing is going to get any better.
So I got to ask you this question first and foremost.
Okay.
What's worse, the Loxley era or now the Davey era, and the allegations that surround both coaches?
Well, it depends on what was actually in the report with Davey from the lawyer firm. The 8 names that were there. Based on that report, I would say the Loxley, because there's nothing really in the Davey report other than the fact there's one thing, and I told Mike on his radio program, where they did kind of say, and he hasn't really objected to this, that he did try to insert himself into the investigation in one of the allegations of sexual assault, where I guess there was a video that they got a hold of and the player gave it to him, and he went to UNM police and said, hey, this exonerates my player. And I'm maybe not getting the actual facts right, but that's the gist of it. And I don't care who you are. He has a daughter. I have daughters. If there's an allegation out there, and I don't care what the circumstances are, what the woman did, if there's an allegation there, he should not be interfering with that investigation in any way to exonerate his player. If he's got something, he's got to give it to his lawyer, whatever. He should not be going to UNM police or telling UNM police, hey, I have this evidence of, this video that exonerates my player. That to me is as bad as anything Loxley was accused of, his own age discrimination or whatever it was against the former secretary, punching the assistant coach, as we've talked about before. And it, like you said before, off air, it is a different time. And we're learning with the Me Too movement that good old boy thing obviously had flaws in it, but that was a part of football staffs before, where you got in altercations and nobody said anything. Well, J.B. Gerald came out and said something, so it was a much bigger deal. And again, not excusing that good old boy mentality and how the locker room was before, but that did exist before.
Sure.
So to me, Davey is worse just based on that one fact alone that was in the report.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know they don't name the player, so I don't know for sure who the player was, but let's operate on the assumption it's a kid from out of state. If you're a parent of that kid, and maybe you don't have a lot of money for attorneys, you can't fly up here and be with him, don't you kind of appreciate Bob Davey being there with the kid? Now, maybe he overstepped his bounds, but just the fact that he was there with the kid and sat in on the meetings with police, I mean, if you're a parent of that kid who couldn't be here, don't you appreciate that?
Absolutely, and let me say this too, we talked about this off air. In terms of the allegations of racism, I never saw anything that Bob Davey did that had any hint of racism. Now, we can talk about his character, that's a different thing. I think he had favorites. I think there were good people in his, in his favor and bad guys. I was obviously one of the ones. He had me removed after 2 years as his SID.
You're a coach killer.
Yeah, he didn't want to get fired.
Right, exactly. So I can see, and you've seen in the Journal and different places where all these people are coming out speaking out for him. Well, that's because he was, I think, very good to some of the players on the team. I'll give you an example. There were some twin cornerbacks that were there, I think either my first year or it might have been my second year, where I had to create like a media relations session for them. It was actually the backup quarterback, Clayton Mitchum, that I did this for. Lobo TV and I, Dave LaPreve from Lobo TV, we created this session for them. That we were going to, the premise was we were going to let everybody go through this thing, but Davey was adamant that I do it for the Twins. And so we created this session, and it was just something that they could do to get more comfortable speaking to the media. So we kind of had like a media-like session for them. So we did that, and it was in the summer. And then I went to Davey and I said, okay, we did this, we're going to do some more. And he said, oh, I just wanted those guys to have a good time. Because I think he thought those two were going to be really instrumental in his program. And then it turned out like the next fall practice, he yelled at one, they got their feelings hurt, and they left. And then we can talk about, like you said, a lot of that is kids are getting their feelings hurt. And it wasn't like in years past where you just took it. And so I see that aspect to it, but there are so many things that different people are saying where there's smoke, there's fire. So some of these other allegations, I didn't have firsthand knowledge of it, but it was heard around UNM, some of the things that happened. And so I told Michael on his radio show, none of what was in that report surprised me. I didn't say, oh, I didn't know about that. I heard about everything.
Sure.
Again, no firsthand knowledge, but I'd heard about everything.
So he's suspended, I guess.
Well, yeah, he's not there
pending
right
appeal
now,
that's not going to be heard till the suspension is over. I mean, do you think this is it? I mean, do you think the 30 days is over? We go back to season starts, things go as normal. I mean, what's your opinion on this?
I have to believe this is the beginning. I don't know, because obviously if there was enough there to remove him, and of course, now you have to dealing with lawyers and all that stuff. Do you have enough to remove him? I don't think there was enough, but I think this is like a Bobby Knight thing where this is a first step, a zero tolerance thing where if anything else happens, then that's it. And I think that's kind of have the protocol you have to go through. But you look at Davey's history, and I know some people in this room may not be a big fan of Daniel Libet and the NM Fishbowl, but he did uncover some things about his tenure at Notre Dame.
Sure.
With the assistant coach where there was another age discrimination thing that they had to pay the coach off, and there's some other things in his past where it just seems that there's a pattern of behavior that's kind of consistent that he hasn't strayed from and has gotten him into trouble. And I told you this off the air too, right before we came on, is when I first came on to UNM, was struggling to try to figure out what he was and what he liked. I called the Notre Dame SID and asked, hey, how do you deal with this guy? What do I do to get in his good graces, to work with him, to make him better? And the guy told me, there's nothing you can do. Good luck. And basically hung up on me. And so then I was, just taken aback. Well, I don't know if that was a slight against me, but now, as I think about it later, maybe it was a slight against Davey, that there's nothing you can do, that this guy is just who he is, and you're going to have to deal with him. And maybe there's a reason why he was out of coaching for 9 years. You'd think after a 9-4 season at New Mexico, and I will say he did an excellent job of bringing this program up from the dead, because it was dead under Loxley. And he got into a 9-win season last year, and that was remarkable the year before, and that was remarkable. But I didn't hear anything about all these coaching offers coming by, and he was out of the business for 9 years. Maybe in the coaching circles, there's a reason for that.
Let me ask you this, because you've been around. I mean, you've seen and other coaches as well, head coaches and this sort of thing, and doing this. Is it just a matter of he's old school, a dinosaur?
Old school in a new school world?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, because you mentioned Bobby Knight and the zero tolerance, and we know the situation there. Is it just a matter of that's just the way things used to be, and now we're in a whole different era of athletics and coach and player and this sort of thing, and it's just like trying to adapt. Some guys can, some guys can't.
That could be. Bob Davie is a very smart man.
Sure, absolutely.
But let's look at another dinosaur, Rocky Long. He has gone from here, 11 years here, you know, defensive coordinator at San Diego State. Now he's having all the success at San Diego State. He is as old school as they get. He still is working out and outworking his players in the weight room. He seems to have adapted. I don't hear all these things going on with him. I just think it's the personality of the coach that is either willing or unwilling to adapt. So you do have some old school dinosaurs. Rocky's older than Bob Davie.
Yeah. Doesn't look it though.
No. I mean, he's still chiseled. I mean, so. But he seems to have been able to either apply his principles in a way that the baby soft kids today can still appreciate. And he's adapted some things, like locker rooms used to be open here. You could talk to players whenever. Practices were open. That's not the case at San Diego State. So he's adapted. But it just seems to me that what I know of Bob Davie through his tenure as a coach and now what's happened here, there's a pattern here that is still consistent that he hasn't gotten away from. So I don't know if it's an old school coach thing, because this was happening 30 years ago, where there were some incidents reported and all he told, and then Fishbowl was, well, I think that's all been well documented and I'm comfortable with what's happened since then. Well, that's not addressing what happened, and I understand none of us want to go back and rehash our worst moments. But the worst moments are there, and they keep piling up.
Yeah.
And so that's what's problematic.
So you mentioned Daniel Libet, talked about the Journal, talked about, do you miss being in the media? In this situation, do you miss it?
Yes and no. I miss the excitement of being around this stuff, and when something like this happens, being in the middle of it and trying to investigate and trying to uncover the stuff. But the way journalism has gone, and it's not just with athletics, we see it with politics now, there is no more true journalism in the sense of fairness. Now, journalism was never objective.
Sure. Because
you pick and choose whenever you quote somebody, you pick the quotes that suit your story. So you have an angle to your story. So I get that, but the objective was always to be fair. And now on both sides, there's no fairness, and I can see why people now, you talk about fake news, almost everything is fake news because it's slanted towards one side or the other. You hardly get very few entities that just report the news and let you try to figure it out on your own. And you can't figure it out on your own because there's so much noise because of social media that you don't know what is the truth and what's not.
Oh my gosh, I remember saying that 30 years ago on the radio and being blasted by some old school journal writers for saying that, but that's interesting that you brought that up, because it is true. I agree with you 100%.
And I think, the problem with the newspapers dying, I think they were more the entity, and now you see like the New York Times, I think they are trying to slant their thing because that's what sells. And before it wasn't a question of having to sell anything. You just reported the news, but now you have to sell because your survival depends on it. And so that's one side or the other. And this is just, Bob Davie stuff is just a microcosm of that.
Let's go back to one of the things that was alleged, and you talked about hearing about things. I think we all heard about this when Bob Davie allegedly in the tunnel getting ready to come out for the second half went after a player and injured his wrist. And then there was about 3 different stories of what happened to the hand, to the wrist. We've all heard the story. I think to some degree we probably all believe it, but the entire team is in there. If UNM did an investigation, if these investigators went back and looked into it, if it happened that way, why can't they find enough people to corroborate that story?
Well, there's basically 2 people that are going to tell you, and it's that player, and I don't know I think we all know who it is, but I don't know if it's ever come out publicly.
I'm not sure that it has.
And Bob Davie.
Right.
I mean, everything else is hearsay. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. It's the same thing about what was said in the room that was alleged in the report, whether Davie wanted to get dirt on the female accuser. Well, there's some people in the thing that said, oh, he didn't say that. But there's other people who said, well, that's what I heard that he said. He didn't say it directly. Only the player and Bob Davie can corroborate what actually happened, because they were the two participants in the event. So, but to your point, what I can say, and this is not hearsay, is he told me something about how he hurt his wrist. He told you something different. He told the television crew that was going to do the game the next week something else. I know he told Rick Wright something. So there's 4 different stories that he told. So that, I mean, that, and again, when he called the press conference the first time about when he was accused of being a racist, and he didn't even tell me that he was calling his press conference, I had to rush back to UNM as my day off. I rushed back to UNM to make sure that one of the stories he told how he hurt his wrist wasn't reported. And that was not, so what it ended up saying with the altercation in the tunnel was he didn't tell any of us that. And so I get trying to cover up some stuff, but you got to cover your tracks too. Sure. If you say something different, you got to make sure that nobody's reported it, or make sure that you have your facts straight before you go before the camera. So those are the kinds of things that are problematic to me, and why, maybe UNM doesn't have that stuff, but there's enough of a smoking gun there to know that there's a problem.
I've heard it said by a lot of people, well, if you read the reports, they don't find him guilty of anything, how can UNM suspend him? If you read between the lines, there was the one thing you mentioned, but also in Chaki Abdallah's letter, the interim school president acknowledged that there are instances where policies had been violated and outdated practices persisted, and that was something that had to change. UNM, I think, has been forthright in the fact that if it was for policy violation, they haven't specifically said what those policies are, but how do you respond to people who say, well, he didn't do anything, the reports didn't find anything, how can they suspend him?
Well, again, I think, and it depends, there's theories out there that the reason they didn't talk to Davey was to protect him. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, based on the report itself, I can see those questions out there. But again, based on just what I know, and this is my own theory, we all have our own theories, sure. I think, again, there's enough of smoking gun there. I think UNM knows more than that's in the report, because we talked about this before. If you suspend somebody without any proof, you're going to get sued, and you're going to lose. So there has to be something there, and I would like to hope UNM is smart enough not to do that. I'm not 100% sure, but I would like to think that would be the case, because they have lawyers too, and so I think that is why he's being suspended. Now, we don't know specifically, other than it's a violation of policy,
right?
But there has to be something there that happened that he did wrong that allowed the suspension to take place.
I ask this somewhat in jest, but somewhat seriously, because it has happened before. Is it possible that maybe the backside of the reports didn't get scanned and there was more that, because that did happen back in the Rice era, remember?
Well, the funniest thing about that, and I go back to that, and I even knew the woman who was accused of doing that when I started working for UNM, but the funniest thing was when they said that the notes over the Loxley incident, they talked to the assistants about what happened with him and the assistant getting an altercation, that the HR person who is in charge of knowing all the rules, she threw away the notes. She destroyed the notes, no copies, she did it. It's her job to determine what you have to keep and what, but she's the one that took it upon herself to destroy this evidence. That is the biggest crock I have ever heard. So all right. You could be exactly right on that. And that's another theory. I mean, but there is more there. There is more there.
So I said I'd keep you only 15 minutes. I think I've gone over, but I have to ask you one last question, and then we'll let you go. Biggest mistake ever UNM made? Letting Rocky Long go? Or forcing him out?
Football program, yes. But again, I'll bridge this by saying, you know, Rocky's tenure wasn't without controversy too, with his assistants going with that scandal with the website or whatever, you know, the college transcripts. If you're Paul Krebs, you come in and this is kind of started happening when he came in. I could see a little bit of mistrust, and then when Paul tries to, you know, take over some stuff, you know, he gave Tim Cass the the scheduling aspect, and Rocky gets mad. So I think that was two egos going at it. But I could kind of see Krebs' point on that because, okay, getting resistance on this, there's this huge black mark against Rocky. Now I'm saying it's right. I think Paul really missed the boat on trying to discover, well, what makes Rocky successful here. He's homegrown product. He's doing it with the New Mexico kids. There's no smoke and mirrors. He's got one of the greatest strength coaches in the country. Maybe I should leave this alone and be happy with 8 or 9 wins. But Paul's thinking, oh, we can beat Boise State. Well, we're finding out how hard it is to try to beat Boise State, right? Here we are how many years later, and we still haven't seen a 10-win season. But I could see it, but I still think you're right. I think a good AD would have recognized what he had.
Exactly. Greg Archuleta, you can catch him, like I said, on Twitter all the time. Say it again, G-Arch-S-R.
Because I have son, same name. So
Awesome. And we'll have him back sometime again. As always love talking with Greg and getting back with Arch and talking global football from whatever. Do you still follow the program?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Micah Frankel and CageMinds.com.
Two Eagles, no Bears.
That's a nice job.
Lipsey with beautiful find to Arroyo. On the block, puts the dribble on Ramirez. Up and in. Oh, send it away, Watson.
Long rebound out to Cameron Valencia. Up and underneath.
The best shooters have taken 2 of them. Brooke
Beautiful
Nelson.
look underneath.
Blocked by Valencia. So Cameron Valencia quickly the other way. Into the lane on 2.
Go behind the back, a little razzle.
Drilling going on right now.
Cole on the run out and the reverse. Beautiful.
Congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all, or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Carmody Medical provides solutions for your everyday needs. Hot and cold compression wraps provide therapeutic compression for the shoulder, hip, and knee. The therapy wraps are constructed of an insulated outer fabric and a ventilated cotton pocket to protect the body. Elastic belts allow mobility and deliver a gentle, adjustable compression. The reusable therapy packs can be removed from the pouch and placed into the freezer. Contact Jim for more information.
Welcome to the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. I'm Micah Frankel. This is Caged Minds. It was a huge weekend of combat sports last weekend. First off, there's some fights I didn't mention to you guys last weekend that were going to be taking place for you New Mexico boxing fans. Actually, before we get to this, sorry. New Mexico boxing fans. Austin Trout is back in the win column with the unanimous decision win this past weekend. Jennifer Hahn also ran her win streak to 7 straight with the unanimous decision win. A sharp right cross in the 9th round from Daniel Garcia leads him to victory over Brandon Rios. We also had in King of the Cage action, B-Win take down Cassie Radish by unanimous decision, presumably becoming the women's atomweight #1 contender looking to challenge Jamie Hinshaw when she recovers from her arm injury. Now, there were also 5 fights last weekend that I did bring up where we can go to that slide to refresh you guys real quick. No highlights from Titan FC 48, but I can let you guys know that off of a 1-2 to the body, followed up by a left hook to the body, right hook to the chin, Jose Shorty Torres, now 7-0, retain his Titan FC flyweight title. Sooner or later, we will see that young man in the octagon. We also had Bellator, LFA, Glory, and UFC action. We have a ton of highlights right now for you guys, and we will start that off with our top highlight from LFA 33. If you're a pro wrestling fan, here's some sweet chin music. Kevin Worth catching Isaiah Gutierrez with that left snap kick. A comeback victory for Worth, who was down 2 rounds to none in that fight going into the 3rd round. A huge victory now, improving Worth to 5-0 in the 125-pound division. A prospect to keep your eye out for. We have some more highlights, and now we're going to head over to Bellator 194. Former champion Liam McGeary. The losing streak continues as Fedor Emelianenko protege Vadim Nevkov takes the left leg from McGeary until right there McGeary had to hop away with injury. A new contender at 205 pounds for Bellator MMA and a struggling champion. We continue with the Bellator highlights with a big one from the co-main event, a huge knockout. You have Pitbull Friday in the red gloves. Both men swinging at once. Pitbull lands harder. That left hook, follow-up right uppercut, swarming with the hooks until he gets the finish. A 5-fight win streak. Pitbull Friday is definitely the #1 contender in the Bellator 155-pound division, and we'll look forward to facing the winner of Brett Primus versus Michael Chandler. And then we have another highlight package, the main event, Big Country Roy Nelson, Matt Mitrione. Mitrione doing a very good job with that lead uppercut, being in and out with his combinations, and taking out the base of Nelson's punching power with those low kicks. Mitrione was not perfect on the night and was taken down at the end of each round. In the 3rd round, a desperation takedown. Roy Nelson got to a position where he was almost able to finish the fight, but Mitrione got back to his feet. They were both exhausted, as you can see from that last picture at the end of the fight. Mitrione wins, advances in the Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix, and at this point looks like he is the favorite to become the new Bellator Heavyweight Champion. More highlights we have for you guys. The kickboxing world, there in the orange and black, is Sidichai Sitsangpilong taking on Christian Baya. Sidichai, possibly the best kickboxer on the planet right now. Here's some action from the 5th round, a dominant performance, and you'll see a big left hook right there from Sidichai. This is the most aggressive he was in the fight. That left leg from the southpaw was doing damage all night to Baya, kicking him in the arms when he went high and to the legs when he went low. If you have not checked out Glory Kickboxing, it's one of the most exciting striking sports. No takedowns if you just want to see the striking and the stand-up game. That was the Super Fight Series main event. We also have a 4-man heavyweight tournament. Benjamin Adebouye, a big right hook in 34 seconds, took out D'Angelo Marshall in the first semifinal of that heavyweight tournament. I believe we still have a couple more highlights. This is now from the main event. Harut Grigorian swarming on Grunhart. The right hook to the body, then the right hook over the top. Drops Grunhart, the champion trying to recover but unable to. The referee with the stoppage, Harut Grigorian, the new Glory welterweight champion. Benjamin Adebouye did win the heavyweight tournament their heavyweight tournament to become the new Glory #1 contender. We also had a couple highlights for you guys from a UFC event on Sunday. Step in knee, Curtis Millender UFC debut in style, taking out former title challenger Thiago Alves. Melender, that is his third straight knockout win. The previous two had come by head kick. A young man to pay attention to who's going to make waves in the UFC's 170-pound division. I'm not sure. Do we have another highlight? One more. Here is Derek Lewis. Massive right hands. Another come from behind fight, which was mostly grappling. But when Lewis found the ability to land that right hand, he took advantage of it. Finishes Marcin Tybura. A big win, getting back in the win column for the Texas native. Now, here's a highlight of the main event. Talk about a fun fight. When you knock your opponent down, let him back up and you hug. Yancy Medeiros and Donald Cowboy Cerrone landed big leather on each other. It was the Cowboy right hand, though, coming up here in a moment, that would be the deciding factor. And here it is, the big shot, the chicken dance, swarming for the finish. Donald Cowboy Cerrone ends his 3-fight losing streak, gets back into the win column. This has been a very good stretch for Cowboy, moving up to 175 pounds, or up to 170 pounds. He has announced after this fight that he will be returning to the 155-pound weight class. A huge win for the Cowboy, showing huge improvements in his boxing, something that needed to be, as he had great knees and kicks already going on. It was a huge, huge weekend of combat sports from everything that we've already talked about, and we have some action coming up this weekend locally. Over the last 2 weeks, we had some guests that will be in action at the Jackson's MMA series. We had Ozzy Chavez and Jess Martinez join us. Ozzy's going to be taking on Mark Matthew McDill in the feature amateur fight. Mark Matthew, we have an interview with him up at Cage Minds, as we do with Eric Dodson, who's returning to the amateur scene for the first time in 4 years, the younger brother of John the Magician Dodson. Go to cageminds.com for all these interviews, and it's going to be a great main event. Jess Martinez has been doing jiu-jitsu since he was 9 years old, was a Division III college wrestler. Roy Cicito, heavy hands, a hard worker. It's going to be a great night of action this Saturday night at the Buffalo Thunder Resort and Casino for Jackson's MMA Series 24. Besides that local event, we have some UFC action. UFC on Fox 28 from Orlando, Florida, a featherweight main event, where you're going to see Josh Emmett, a heavy-handed fighter coming off of a big knockout of Ricardo Lamas, taking on high-pressure, big-volume fighter Jeremy Stevens, the Little Heathen. This one will be a throwdown. In the co-main event, Jessica Andrade faces Tisha Torres. The winner of that bout will fight the winner of the rematch for the women's strawweight title at UFC 223. That's seeing Rose Namajunas defend against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. A couple big fights there for UFC on Fox in Orlando that feature top caliber fighters. A card that's kind of being overlooked and some people don't like it, but there are 5 matchups of ranked fighters against each other and a former world champion, Renan Barão, in action. There's always some diamonds in the rough with these MMA events, so get out live and join us at Buffalo Thunder, or check out UFC on Fox 28 this weekend. And a ton of local action coming up. The next time there's a local event here in the Albuquerque area, March 17th, Legacy Boxing Promotions, Route to Glory, and we'll start having interviews next week concerning that event. And in just a moment, we'll be back with more Red Menace TV.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction, all conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet. I want to congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here. Hey, we had Greg Archuleta.
Yeah.
We had Micah Frankel, of course.
Yeah.
And now it's just us. So what do we want to talk about?
Well, basketball won. Let's see, as we tape on Wednesday, they won last night at Wyoming.
What a heck of a game, too, huh?
That was a very high-scoring game. 119, 114.
A lot of NBA-esque type of scoring there? Or was there just no defense?
There's a lot of scoring. Lobos hit 13 threes. Wyoming hit 13 threes.
Mm-hmm.
Lobos shot 61%. Wyoming shot 57%, almost 58%.
Sam Logwood had a great game.
Logwood had a good game. He had 24 points off the bench.
So just looking at the season, and I know it's not over, but we're getting close to March and we're getting close to the time when the conference tournament starts. I think the Lobos have a puncher's chance at that. What do you think?
No, yeah. Depending on which Lobo team shows up.
Yeah.
No, when they're playing well, they're as good as pretty much anybody in the conference.
Yeah.
When they're not playing well, they're as bad as anybody in the conference, though. And that's been the thing this year, the ups and downs of this team. If there's consistency and they're playing well, yeah, they absolutely have a chance.
Real quick, who do you think is the MVP of this basketball team this year? Do you have one? Mathis, I think so too. Mathis is pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name.
Makwach Malawach?
Yes.
I just knew that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, how did you know that? I mean, it could have been Vlad.
Yeah, it could have been.
Could have been Vlad, but if we said MVP, so he doesn't
Of course,
quite
you're
qualify
60
for
years old and in school, so it could have been Chris McNeil. I mean, let's be honest.
Say it again?
Chris McNeil?
No.
McNeil? Oh, Makwach Malawach, I'm sorry. Makwach?
I could do the Portnoy and just go Eminem.
You could.
I could.
Do we have time to make flashcards? Makwach Malawach.
No, I'll tell you, it's been it's not as horrible a season as some would have predicted, but it's not as great a season. Well, I don't know. Did anyone predict a great season? I predicted him to be in the top 3, which there's still a chance for that.
Yeah, they're still. No, I think it's look, they're 14-14 on the year, 9-6 in conference play. I think with everything that went on in the offseason, the coaching change, players leaving, getting players in here at the last minute, I think if you had said, hey, 14-14 at this point, 9-6 in conference, you take that all day. I think where maybe some debate on that comes in is you've seen flashes of this team. And this is what I was talking about a while ago, about how good they can be.
Sure.
You're just not seeing the consistency. So when you look at it at that point, yeah, they're 14-14 and 9-6. And you would have taken that at the start of the year, but you've seen what this team can do. So maybe from that standpoint, for some fans, it's a little disappointing because, they could have been better. But they've still got, 3 games left?
Yeah.
And then the tournament? Well, let's see what happens.
So earlier this season, like 2 weeks ago, Aggie fan was calling. They have the same shot of going to the NCAA tournament as the Lobos do.
Yes and no.
Yes and yes.
They have a much better shot of going to the NCAA tournament because they have a much better shot of winning
the tournament?
Of winning their conference tournament than the Lobos do. And that's not even a knock on UNM per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, they're still in the driver's seat for winning the regular season of the WAC. And honestly, assuming they don't tank here at the end of the year, these last 3 games, they're going to be the favorite going into Vegas for their tournament.
But just the tournament. If they don't win the tournament, they're not going in.
No. Oh, no. They will not be in at large.
And Paul Weird left them with a pretty decent team. Huh?
No, he didn't. Chris Jans did a lot of what Paul Weir's done as far as bringing guys in at the last minute. So, yeah.
I'll say Paul. I'm going to give
That's fine.
Weird credit.
You're
Is that
wrong,
right?
but that's fine.
It's all right.
You give it credit to whoever.
Greg Archuleta talked about fake news, didn't he?
I don't think he did that to encourage you to preach fake news.
I thought that's what he was doing.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
But that's fine.
Are you excited? Pitchers and catchers reported?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's reported now.
Are you more excited about that or the Olympics?
Baseball.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I don't think anyone's excited about the Olympics, are they?
I watch it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Just nothing.
Curling.
Curling.
Men's hockey last night was good. They lost, in a shootout.
They're out of everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The women play tonight, as we tape on Wednesday. They play Canada for the gold.
Yeah. So here's the actual exciting news that's going on this time around. It's weird. We talked about Coach Davey. We talked about Lobo football. Nobody's talked really about practice much. Even Rick Wright's articles in the paper are mostly about the off-the-field stuff than it is real. Well, I guess you can't have a practice report if you can't watch practice, so that makes a lot of sense. But the exciting thing is DWO this Saturday night. We had Hobo Hank on a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Noticed Gina Rivera was on WWE 205.
Yeah, 205 Live. Which you can, if you have WWE Network, you can find that. Yeah, Destiny Wrestling Organization this weekend. Pain Rising is the name of the card. Brand new location for DWO. It's at the Cesar Chavez Community Center, 7505 Catherine Avenue Southeast. Hobo Hank, who we had on. I've got it on the radio show, by the way, Thursday.
Nice.
Hobo. He's fighting the Blue Meanie. It was an ECW original.
ECW, yeah.
Spent some time in WWE. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It always is.
And do you know who else is, do you have a little quick rundown?
I do, as a matter of fact.
I knew you did.
Chad Thomas defends the DWO Heavyweight Championship against Mosh Pit Mike.
I'm going to pick Chad in that one.
Maybe. Manny Lemons versus Gino Rivera
That's
for the
gonna be
Full
a good
Access
one.
Championship. That is going to be a good one. Manny Lemons, by the way, who's been on Ring of Honor TV several times.
He has, that's
Yeah.
right. And you kind of like the lemon thing, but I mean, I like Gino Rivera, but I think Manny's going to beat him. Just my personal thoughts.
Maybe we'll have a little friendly wager off air.
We might have to.
Women's wrestling, Micah Madrid versus Valentina Loca. Tag team championship on the line. The champions, Los Fox Stars, take on Thought Control. Oh, you're not a fan of
I'm not a
Los Fox Stars, are you?
No, Luchaweros, no.
Can you say that?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I'm Hispanic. It's allowed.
You are?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I don't see color, Leroy. I don't see race. I just see people.
Well, I'm wearing blue and white. I mean.
Well, no, I see you.
Oh.
Never mind.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. You can get tickets in advance for that at holdmyticket.com.
You should really go. I'm going to say that it's a great show, first of all. These guys are, I mean, we've had Hobo Hank a few times. I know we've had Mosh Pit Mike and Ray Basura on, two of your favorites.
Yeah.
We've had them on. We're still angling for Thunder and Gino Rivera. But it's a great time. It's not super expensive. It's a place you could take your family for. I think it's fun. I think it's fun.
No, it's a lot of fun.
I mean, if you like professional wrestling, and if you don't, if you just want to go see the event, it's actually kind of cool just to go see the event. Anyways, is that the end of the card, or is there anybody
Card
else?
subject to change.
Card subject to change, so anything can happen.
Yeah.
Who's fighting the Luchaweros again?
Thought Control.
Thought Control. I'm trying to remember who those guys were.
Dylan Dunbar and Ethan Price.
Okay.
You were at the last one. They were there.
Yeah, okay.
They were part of I think they were in the, what do they have, a four-way tag match?
They did.
Or so? Yeah, they were in that.
Cool, cool. So I'm definitely making plans to get there on Saturday night to go catch that, because it's just fun.
Absolutely.
I like the fun. And what else are you going to do? Watch the Olympics?
No.
No, exactly. Curling's over, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be done by Saturday, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's been done for a couple of years now, I think.
Curling? No.
No, the Olympics. Isn't it like the worst watched Olympics in like decades?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think so. Could be because of the time change. It could be just, people are just kind of, I don't know. I'm not a big Winter Olympics. I used to really like the Winter Olympics. Now I don't.
I like the Summer Olympics.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I know the United States wins a lot more medals in the Summer Olympics than they do the Winter
Struggling
Olympics.
a bit, yeah.
You know, but we never do well. I can't remember the United States ever really doing well in the Winter Olympics.
1980?
I mean, they won some. Yeah, they won a medal here. I mean, yeah, I'm talking about overall. You know, the medal count.
They usually do well. They're doing that well.
They're in the
this
top
year.
5. Is that well?
That would be well for this year.
Yeah, but for the United States, when it comes to summer, they're like number 1.
Oh yeah.
Or 2.
We're a summer country.
We're a summer. We're an outdoorsy town.
Get out and play, enjoy it, get the sunshine.
I don't know why that's.
Plus it helps.
I don't know why that
Plus
strikes
it
me
helps
as
the
funny. It's
basketball-
not that funny, but it strikes me as funny.
Plus it helps that basketball is at the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, but I
Even though
used
it's
to.
a winter sport.
But I love the Summer Olympics basketball when it was the college kids more than I do the professionals. It's called guilt. Crush 'em guilt.
Crush 'em guilt.
Yeah, because you know they're going to crush them every time. Except that one time they didn't, right?
With college kids.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's just guilt. It's like I have a
That's why
complex.
they're pro players now.
Yeah, I know, exactly. How come they don't do pro players for the hockey?
Because the NHL didn't want to shut down its season for, the Olympics are 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You got to give them time together, so you're probably talking 2 or 3 weeks shutting down the NHL.
Yeah.
That's why.
Don't forget, district championships start here on Proview Networks this
Yeah.
week, right? Is that right? High school basketball district champions? I'm getting this, so that means yes. Don't forget you can catch all that here on Channel 26 as well on Proview Networks. And then, of course, state final. They're like yelling 30 seconds, so I guess we got to go.
It was 15 seconds, dude. So
15.
you
Wow, I really
go.
got to go. Hey, for Michael Carlisle, you can catch him all the time on 610 The Sports Animal and 95.9. Boom! Micah, Leroy Lucero, we'll see you next week. God bless you.